talked with my uncle and my cousin in the hotel lobby. We kept running into other people from Pittsburgh. So now we've won the Super Bowl and the Stanley Cup in the same year.
Hey, how about all the costumes out here today? Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I see Ahsoka down there. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, Han Solo. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. Jedi,
Yeah.
Mom Leia.
Very
Hi,
cool.
Mom Leia.
Very cool. Now, Dave, it's so funny because speaking of Ahsoka, you and I mean, you created Ahsoka. And then, I mean, you found me for the voice, but how did this all happen? First of all, how did it come about? And then why am I here?
For your bubbly personality.
Oh, you know.
Well, Henry Dora and I started, when we were originally working on the Clone Wars, we didn't know we were going to work with Anakin and Obi-Wan a lot. We thought that story had been covered, and we hadn't yet talked to George about what he wanted to do with the Clone Wars, so we came up with a bunch of different ideas. And one of the ideas we had was, we weren't going to use Anakin and Obi-Wan, but use another Jedi pair. So we invented a new Jedi Knight, and he had a young Padawan named Ashla. And that was basically who Ahsoka became. She was a little Togruta girl, and they were working with smugglers during the Clone Wars. But when we took that idea to George, George loves his characters. He loves Anakin and Obi-Wan, and he didn't want to let them go. And he said, but I've got all these stories I want to tell involving them. However, he loved the idea of there being a Padawan, and he said he had always wanted to give Anakin a Padawan. It's part of his process that he needs to go through to try and become a Jedi Master. And he took Ashla and renamed her Ahsoka, and there you were. To get your voice, it was a much more complex thing actually than designing and creating the character. It's a very delicate thing when you give any character a voice, because you're going to become that character, and you're going to bring so much to the role. We interviewed about 20 people. None of them, including you, knew who the character was. Of course, no one knew who Ahsoka was. We didn't even tell you the name of the character was Ahsoka. We gave her some other name, and we just kind of told you what her attitude was. And you performed. We had you do an Icelandic accent. Of course, I couldn't tell you what Icelandic sounds like, but we thought that would motivate you to do some type of accent.
I gave them an Icelandic accent, and they're like, no, we want
didn't
something
like
more
it,
like Icelandic. And I'm like, but that is Icelandic.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Bjork, I guess.
You were young. You wrote fan mail to George Lucas. And
No.
Oh, okay, I'm getting the story wrong.
No, that's my dad wanted me to do that. My dad lives in this ancient world where people wrote letters on paper, and he kept telling me to write George Lucas a letter and you'll get a job at Lucasfilm. And I said, Dad, it really doesn't work like that anymore. Maybe when you were a boy, someone like George actually get that letter, but nowadays he never would. But then I got this job, and he's convinced I wrote that letter.
Oh, as a kid, this was a dream of yours. You were a huge Star Wars fan. So just explain to us what you were feeling the first day you walked into your office at Skywalker Ranch. Be the supervising director for the Clone Wars. I mean, seriously, how cool is that?
You're thinking, oh boy, how are we going to do this?
Here's where the fun begins.
Yeah, it really is. When we got to Lucasfilm Animation, a lot of people don't realize this. We are not like Industrial Light and Magic, the effects division that makes the features for Star Wars. There was nothing there. I mean, there's the beautiful main house where George, his office is in the upper right there, but we were actually back behind this house in what is the carriage house. It's designed like a real ranch, but we really didn't have much technology at that point. The computers we were going to use to make the show hadn't come in yet. I had 2 artists on staff, about 3 production people. We had leftover pens and pencils from the art department of the prequels, and that was it. Like, we found a T-square that had Ryan Church's name on it, and he was a designer from, we were kind of, Ryan Church, but that was about it. So we really didn't know how we were going to accomplish this. The early goings of the Clone War was kind of evidence in the movie. We thought we were only going to get like 4 main characters, 5 to build, about 3-4 vehicles, the Vulture Droid, the gunships. Everything was much smaller. But we all loved Star Wars so much that we just kind of got together as a group and said, let's just push this and see how far we can get it. Because we all just wanted to make more movies. And we ended up, George was so game for that, and pretty much make a movie every week now.
Very cool, very cool. Well, you guys are in for a treat for season 2. Anything you can tell us?
No.
I'm putting him on the spot.
No, I would love to tell you all about it. I think, all I can say is that I think we learned so much making season 1. If you watch the later episodes of season 1, they tend to get, the stories I think are a lot better. The tone got a little darker. I think season 2 is more an Empire Strikes Back vein than we ever were. It's kind of anteed up it's a lot more serious. Your character goes through a bit of a change as we progress, and it's all planned out, and I'm pretty excited about it. It would be great to see something like that later.
Awesome. Well, let's get over here to our makeshift studio, and I want to show our audience what it's like when we go into record an episode. So I have a scene, and
yeah,
what's going on?
I mean, this will give you a typical day for Ashley when I come down from San Francisco to direct to. She has no idea what the scenes are. They get the script maybe like a day ahead of time, 2 days, sometimes only part of it. And all the crazy stuff you see in a Star Wars movie, the actors, they don't have any idea. It's either being designed or still being shot, so I have to describe it to them. And often they're doing very physical things, they might be in a crazy setting, and for an actor on stage, you know, they can feed off of that. Well, it's my job to let them know what they're doing, how they're moving, and what they're saying. So in this situation...
Because we do the lines first, we record it first, and then they do the animation afterwards.
So I'll paint this whole scene for her and say, in this situation, here, hold the cards, I'm not distracted. I don't need to see that, I know the scene. I'm the director. That's all I need. In this situation, I'll say, okay, so, you're attacking Dr. Vindy's laboratory and Naboo. It's underground laboratory. The hallways that you're in look like they're from Empire Strikes Back, where Luke Skywalker is walking to the carbon freezing chamber, the door shuts behind him. That was your Star Wars homework, so I hope you watched Empire Strikes Back so you know the hallway. Did you watch it?
Yes.
You know you did.
It's a disco tunnel, right?
Yeah, no, there's no disco tunnel on Empire Strikes Back. That's our show. But don't worry about that. I know you're lying. I caught you again. So, actors, go watch the movie, because this movie that is existing in Star Wars has scenes and setups that we're going to need to know. You always watch it.
Yes,
okay, sure.
Yes.
I don't believe you. Anyway, so that hallway has little lights in it, and it's got, you are distracting the droids from catching Anakin Skywalker who's going to rescue Padme. That's your mission. That's very important. You're also counting on Obi-Wan Kenobi to come and help you out, because you're going to get overwhelmed. You are currently in a hallway, and what you're doing is the Jedi, when they work with their clones, they're out in front, because they're blocking all the ranged attack of the droids. So I need you to have like some efforts when you're swinging, like you're blocking a lightsaber. Then what you do is you can kneel down, and the clones will fire over top of you. Then you'll get back up and block more. That's the way the Jedi work at the front of their army. So they can move up, the clones fire at range. The ceiling above you is going to explode. You kind of cover yourself, you look up, Obi-Wan's going to be standing there, you know, very, you know, dashing, swashbuckling he is. You're relieved to see him. You can give a little breathe, you know, here he comes, and then you're going to run down the hallway together, okay?
Okay.
That's the general scene.
I can't hold them!
Need some help?
Oh, so good to see you, Master Kenobi.
Things are going well. The lab is secure, and hopefully Anakin has reached Padme by now. I'll get the ball.
I'll keep the battle drinks occupied. I'm missing my pencil.
Not bad, pretty good.
Yeah, I usually use a pencil as a lightsaber.
He usually fakes a lightsaber with a pencil.
Now the first line, when we actually get to watch the animation, and we dub a line over, that's actually called ADR.
Yeah.
So the first line, my lips didn't match up at all. So that's where Dave would be laughing at me in the studio saying, Ashley, yeah. So we try to get it done in 1 or 2 takes. We've got better.
Would you like to do a different take? Do we have time for this?
What are you going to let me do, Dave?
Well, I actually like to get a little creative. You have all these goofy actors in a room together. I keep them in a small padded room where no sound can escape except when we record. It's the best place to be your actors. And they're very creative people. They start goofing around. James Arnold Taylor starts talking like Marty McFly. Dee Baker starts making Avatar sounds like Appa. And you, in your history, you like the Brady Bunch. So why don't you show them what this sounds like? This is something that you won't get to do on the show ever, possibly, but since it's Star Wars weekends and you love Disney and fun, cute things, I will allow you to do this scene as Jan Brady. Then never again.